Oh, welcome back, guys. This is the final of the third Open ESL qualifier for the UK Premiership. And this is a fantastic game coming your way. We have two qualified teams staring us down, going head-to-head in this pick and ban phase right now. On the blue side, we have Ascendance. And on the red side, we have exceL, and we've seen exceL perform through probably 4 consecutive games now. We cast 2 of their games yesterday, their semi-final today, and now we're casting them in the final. And both of these teams can go in with a little bit more relaxed. There's £100 on the line, so it's, you know, the winner of this definitely takes something away, but as well as the seeding for the group stages. But both of them are qualified now for the UK Premiership, so both of them probably a little bit less pressure on going in through this stage, and they'll probably both be happy with that. And look at the bans coming out from Ascendance. They haven't banned Nidalee, they haven't banned any of the other champions we've seen exceL play. They've just gone for Katarina, Ari, and LeBlanc. Now, Katarina may be targeted at Vidius. Vidius does like to play that champion. Azir is definitely for Harpass Thor.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to see such a mid lane focus in the bans here, because I mean, Katarina, Ari, LeBlanc, and Azir are all mid lane champions, of course, and up until now we've been seeing a lot more of a jungle focus. Usually the Rek'Sai bans coming out, maybe a Vi ban here, there, a Sejuani ban. At the moment, it looks like Ascendance are going to pick up the Sejuani early on. It does leave a couple of strong picks available for exceL. They could go for that Gragas in the support role again if they want to. Artorias, we saw him play Hecarim against Boosh from Coco Pops with Semi-Skim Milk yesterday. Did a great job early game on that Hecarim. It looks like it's going to be Hecarim and Gragas picked in here, and those are 2 very strong picks for this exceL lineup.
Yeah, 100%. And we've seen Artorias on Hecarim before. He was incredibly powerful in the quarterfinal, I believe it was, where they went up face-to-face with... who did they play in the quarter? Oh, Unite, or rather Coco Pops and the Semi-Skimmed Milk, as they are now known. And he played a really, really solid Hecarim, and that is probably going to be Gragas for Condemned again. I doubt we're going to see Nocturnal Plex run that in the jungle. Sejuani was focused and picked out first by Ascendance. Now, we know how strong Sejuani can be in the jungle at this point in time. She has had a couple of nerfs, but she still does an incredibly useful she's basically useful all game round. As soon as she hits 6, she's got tons of CC. She can gank pre-6 and can be that front line that your team does need. This is going to be a Morgana being hovered over here. A bit of a flex pick. Morgana has been seen in the top lane and obviously can still work in that support role. And even in some cases, we sometimes see her mid. Going to be an Ezreal, also a bit of a flex pick, to be honest, Sona. We've seen a lot of Ezreal mid come out recently. It's been played by DX, for instance. DX Alchemist played a lot of Ezreal mid and has been seen in the pro scene too. So that's, again, not giving too much away from the Ascendance comp.
Yeah, I think flex picks are the name of the game generally in pick and ban plays these days. You see lots of Lulus, lots of Morganas, people who can be played in multiple roles, and Ezreal gives you that threat in the mid lane of a sustained damage dealer who can push down towers relatively easily. However, he does get pushed to his own tower quite quickly in the early game because he doesn't have a lot of wave clear. So if we see Vidius picking a good mid lane pusher, he can then go for the roams as he gets later into the early portion of the game. But they banned out the Ari, they banned out the LeBlanc, they banned out some of the better wave pushers. So Vidius is going to have to fall back on one of his less strong champions in that middle lane.
This is interesting, the Olaf hovering over here. Olaf. Come on, boys. Take that Olaf. And I imagine that's going to be Olaf jungle?
Yeah.
I wouldn't imagine that Evidius 2 playing the Olaf mid. It does look Olaf is going to get locked in. This is Olaf jungle, boys, coming out from exceL. And Mordekaiser potentially being offered over by Ascendance. Kennen and Mordekaiser looking like just being hovered over. I don't think... I would be crazy to see Mordekaiser being locked up for the guys on Ascendance, but I'm even more crazy going to be seeing the Olaf, which I haven't seen played competitively for some time now. Some time.
That's been a while. Corki looks like it's going to be picked up here by Ascendance along with that Kennen. Of course, Corki could go mid here, could be going towards that Luden's Echo Zhao build that we've seen recently in the LCS, but suspect that he'll be in the bottom lane with the Morgana being played by Damnation. Kennen going towards top, and then Sejuani in the jungle. Now, what are exceL going to pick up here? They've got their mid laner, we think, available at the moment. Of course, they could have picked a jungler and have that Olaf go mid, which would be one of the most interesting strategies I've seen today.
Well, knowing Vidius, it's not something I'd put past him, but Olaf definitely could be in his repertoire. We've seen him play Nocturne mid, but I think Olaf's a little bit more of a stretch. Definitely going to struggle against what I imagine is going to be the Kennen in the mid. No, sorry, Ezreal in the mid. So Olaf will probably struggle. Now this is one of Vidius's main champions. If he does lock in this Victor, he used to be a Victor main. Hasn't actually picked him up much this season, but back before the rework, had a bit of a similar kit than he does to what he does now. I mean, the sort of the mechanics behind the kit were basically similar. But Vidius played so much Victor. He played a lot of Victor. He played a lot of Malzahar. This is probably going to be Vidius running that Victor mid. I haven't actually seen exceL Vidius play Victor for about 8 months. So this is going to be a return for me to seeing him play that in the mid lane. I'm going to see Condemned on that Gragas again. So, I mean, Sona, what do you think about the Ascendance team comp? What do you think the idea is behind it? Because in my mind, it looks fairly obvious, but, just getting your opinion on it too will help sort of get a nice rounded idea about what Ascendance are trying to do with their composition.
A nice rounded idea. I feel like you're trying to lead me into a trap here, Excounter. It looks fairly obvious, and now I'm going to say one thing and be like, well, that's obviously not what it is.
Why would I trap you? You're the best co-caster a guy could ever ask for.
Thanks very much, man. I think you do see a lot of AoE coming out from the Kennen in the top lane, combining with the Sejuani as we get into those mid to late game team fights, and then of course the tower pushing prowess you always get from double AD carry. I think Half Past Thor will probably be going for that AD Ezreal mid. I really don't expect the AP Ezreal that we see from some people, just because AD Ezreal gives you more pressure on the lane, it gives you more ability to push down the towers, and then Morgana to keep them all safe with that spell shield to block out the explosive casts coming out, to block out the onslaught of shadows coming out from the Hecarim as well. So it's very much an AoE team fight comp, along with a good ability to push down towers and a beefy frontline in the form of Sejuani.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be I'm sure it's going to be AD Ezreal, because the highest damage mid lane Ezreal that you play that doesn't suck in the early game, because AP Ezreal sucks in the early game. The best damage at a mid laner for Ezreal, you go tier into Manamune, then you take Triforce. And against a team that they're facing, I think Triforce probably would be the option, because Vidius and Condemned provide a lot of magic damage, and obviously there's the true damage too. I know you want to be looking to kite, but you won't be able to kite as well versus, especially against a Olaf with the ultimate. So I imagine it's just going to be the normal Manamune to Triforce Ezreal build that we see quite a lot of. And yeah, in my eyes, it basically is an AoE teamfight composition. You have the Sejuani ultimate, and then you've got Kennen who can go in, and pre-Zhonya's can have that Morgana ultimate on top of him, which will basically allow him free roam, and it will be able to block a lot of the, I guess, peel that we've seen exceL run previously. And like the Gragas, that's basically the key component here. Kennen will run in with the Morgana ultimate, the Morgana shield, and then ultimate. And then obviously, if that Morgana shield is upon him, he won't get knocked back by the Gragas ultimate. It's all going about timing. I mean, Vidius, if he's quick off the bat, could use his Death Ray and burst that Morgana shield, and then Condemned could use the barrel. But then they've got this double AD comp, which allows them from winning fights to go and quickly take objectives. So it's basically win fights with Sejuani ultimate, Kennen ultimate, clean up with Ezreal and Corki, and then clear turrets, take objectives. What do you think about the exceL lineup, however? Because that's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's an interesting lineup. You've got the ability for Artorias to get onto that backline with the Hecarim and an onslaught of shadows. I expect to see the Ragnarok being popped out from Nocturnal Plex as well. He's going to be running towards the squishier members, the Subatomics, the Half Past Thors, but hasn't gone for that Ghost, so it's going to be much more getting as close to them as he can and then flashing onto them, getting their true damage down. Vidius sustained damage throughout the fight with Victor. He's so strong. If you can get a good Chaos Storm down and a couple of good Death Rays, you can really put out a huge amount of the DPS. And then we've seen how well exabyte and Condemned play this Gragas bot lane. If they can continue with that, they're going to have a lot of damage in the bot lane, and then just be able to get that CC down with the explosive cast coming out from Condemned as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is practically, I think, going to be looking to put Artorias in that split push role again.
Yeah.
I have not seen a game of exceL where Artorias hasn't been split pushing. So again, he's on a champion that is good for him in a 1v1 situation. So I imagine he'll be looking to split push. Now, the matchup for him in that top lane is actually pretty hard without some form of support. He will get poked out of lane very early on by the Kennen. So there is always the option for exceL to lane swap, but Hecarim kind of sucks in a lane swap, especially with Ignite TP. It makes him far more vulnerable in the tower dives as well. He hasn't got any reliable escape tools under tower. He hasn't got any reliable escape tools under tower without the flash. He's only got that devastating charge. And so Hecarim with that setup, it's not going to do very well in a 2v1 situation, especially against the Morgana Corki, in which if he gets caught in a binding, he'll get poked down. It'll probably even be worse, worse than going 1v1 versus Kennen. So you're going to have to see probably the normal 2v2. We haven't actually seen any lane swaps all day, so we've seen a very normal matchups from all these teams. We saw Condemned play into a Morgana previously, but it wasn't a Morgana Corki, I don't believe. And he actually managed to win that matchup by using the Drunken Rage to break the Morgana shield before using the majority of his other spells. But with a Corki, if he does choose to do that, he will take a lot of return damage, and very quickly too. So they're going to have to be a little more careful. They do get a ward down. See, the ward comes down from the Ascendance lineup too, and Zizzle is going to try and flank here. Artorias and Plex, he was in a little bit of a hiding spot. Going to throw down that Cardboard Axe. That Cardboard Axe does a lot of damage, actually. I gotta say, for a Cardboard Axe, does some serious deeps. You'd imagine it'd just break if it hit people.
Nah, it's an Olaf axe. Come on, it's Brolaf. He is mighty. It's soaked in alcohol. It's always gonna hurt if you take it. I think it makes you confused. It dazes you. You get a little bit drunk, and then you have to run away.
Direct damage to the liver. Does direct damage to the liver. Yeah, I can see that. Got to be the beer-based soaked Olaf axes just giving you liver disease left, right, and centre. Kennen's going to drop off in about 45 minutes into this game. We'll have to send him for some LFTs, and he may...
Don't go all medical on us. It was good until you went into LFTs. Don't need to get into our hepatitis here. Artorias and Nocturnal Plex are going to start off in the top side. They'll take the Krugs, dump those ones down as quickly as possible. Half-Past Thor has gone for that Dawn's Blade, but Condemned and Exabyte try to put some pressure on Subatomic and Damnation as they go for their own Krugs. So much damage coming down with that buckshot. They'll get them away from the Krugs, and that is a good early start for exceL in the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, that was a nice... Instead of looking to take the Gromp and just go even, they put a lot of damage early on with that body slam and take away the small Krug as well. So a very tiny experience advantage for exceL, but they are taking a lot of auto attacks already onto Condemned. But I did like that. That was very nice from them. And they're going to start to put the... Oh, wow, he's going to Damnation. Does dodge out the Phosphorus Bomb there too. And Subatomic caught on the wrong side of the lane. And look how aggressive right now exceL are being. But Condemned takes a lot of return damage for that very aggressive play.
They know they're going to hit the level 2 ever so slightly sooner, though, so exceL can take a little bit more damage because they know they'll push away the Ascendance bot lane here. Condemned actually flashing in. He gets the Ignite down as well. There's still a heal available for Subatomic. One more also may have been enough, but Subatomic doesn't even need to burn the heal. We'll just back away from this lane. He'll lose out a bunch of CS to the tower, but better than having to burn that summoner. We will be back soon enough to get back into this lane.
If Graves can push this lane up and he loses the Siege Minion, that would be really, really, really good for them. However, obviously being a melee support, he'll be more vulnerable not having that flash than Corki will. Corki will always have Valkyrie to allow him to self-escape a little bit more easily. Obviously Condemned does have their body slam, not as an effective escape tool as that Valkyrie is, however. So Condemned is going to have to be a little bit more careful about how he chooses to be aggressive and how he chooses to engage in this bot lane now. He will be able to sustain a little bit using his abilities, but obviously it's going to take a little bit while for him to get his full health back. I think he gets 2% of his health every time he casts a spell, or 4% of his max health. Yeah, 4% of his max health every time he casts a spell. So obviously he's only got 2 spells right now, so it's going to take him a little while, but he should be able to sustain ever so slightly. He's ran out of pots. I didn't actually notice. How did I not notice he started Doran's Blade?
I just noticed that as well.
How did I not notice he started Doran's Blade? That's incredible. That's probably why he was looking to all in very early on, and I don't know how much an advantage they got out of it. It was only 7 CS, and to be honest, Subatomic is not even that far behind on experience at this point in time, and Damnation doing a good job of just solo zoning the rest of the guys out.
Yeah, the Dawn's Blade start hasn't paid off here for exceL in the bottom lane. They got the early pressure on, Condemned. One more also would have spelled doom for Subatomic, or would have at least burnt that heal, but because of Nocturnal Plex being on that OLAP, he's not going to come in for those early ganks that he was able to in the last game, and it's going to just exceL have to win these lanes by themselves.
I don't necessarily know, because he can on OLAP come in for the early ganks. They're just not going to be as damage effective. Yeah. Or as the Nidalee ganks. They do have good CC, but it really just relies on you hitting it really relies on you hitting the axe, and you've got to pick up and hit the axe again, and pick up and hit the axe again. They're actually quite tiresome ganks to make work. Vidius is having a decent time against Half Past Thor in this mid lane though, so he's definitely going to be fairly happy with the way that one's going. I think he's probably imagining he was going to receive a lot of Mystic shots to the face and a lot of auto attack damage, but obviously they're going to I guess Half Past Thor is probably not going to want to step too close to Vidius, because Death Ray is such a powerful trading tool in that mid lane, and you can see already starting to clear waves fairly easily with that.
It will be interesting to see how Vidius decides to build as well. We've seen a few builds on the Victor in the mid, Faker going early damage with the triple Dorans into upgrades of that Hex Core, and then the other people going for a more tanky build, like things like Tyr or Seraph's Embrace if you really want to go for it, or even a Haunting Guide to extra magic penetration.
The tanky Tyr build, so no, I didn't.
What, Tyr into Seraph's Embrace? It's a build. Oh, yeah. It's more tanky.
Such a tanky.
Hey, it's tankier than like pure AP. Okay.
I love you, Bay.
Tanky for a mid lane.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I mean, damage onto Artorias in the top lane, and nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, a lot of ways that I think.
Oh, Ignite gets down onto Zik, but he's gonna get first blood, and that was aggressive from Artorias, thinking that he had the advantage with having Ignite, but exceL manages to pick up first blood.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really hard matchup for Hecarim as well, and I definitely think having had that teleport up, he could afford to play it a little bit more safe. Didn't do that, fortunately got punished for it, and that's first blood against Artorias. And in, you know, a lot of situations when we see exceL play, if Artorias gets behind, the whole team struggles, because Artorias is such a key component of the way they match up. And I gotta say, I haven't totally seen what Nocturnal Plex is aiming to do with this Olaf right now, because he's going to find it. I think he's going to find it really difficult to do anything in these team fights, especially against an Ezreal and a Corki. I mean, Arcane Shift can dodge those axes very easily. Valkyrie can do the same. Even if he's ignoring CC, he's going to find it very difficult, especially without Ghost, to get on top of them.
Yeah, definitely. And at the moment, it's been a very passive game from all round, but a needlessly large rod already on exceL means Artorias is going to struggle even more. He's gone for the Ninja Tabi to try and mitigate some of those auto attacks, but he's going to definitely struggle against the magic damage coming out from that cannon. And across the board, relatively even, apart from that top lane, where you have to think Ascendance eSports will be trying to get extra pressure on just to get that cannon snowballing even more.
Yeah, I get the point of the Ninja Tabi. I just understand that it's a very, very team fight orientated build, because he's now going to struggle, especially against the needlessly large rod. And I don't know what Artorias was doing right there, but he's going to have to ultimate to get away. That was an interesting play. He's going to have to back probably and use Devastating Charger to try and rush his way back to lane. But look at exceL just going to push it up with that Electrical Surge and Lightning Rush, and he's going to lose minions to tower. Right now, exceL's having a whale of a time, or rather, should I say, a horse of a time in that top lane.
Yes, he's having a horse of a time. A commonly used idiom there from exceL. Hexcore Mark 1 on Vidius in the mid lane. He's getting that extra AP and mana already, and he's doing relatively well against Half Past Thor. We talked about this. Half Past Thor's gone for the early tier, doesn't have as much damage output as he'd like, but auto attack harass from him can be relatively good. The problem here for both teams is it's a stalemate at the moment. It's all going to come down to the first dragon fight, the first big team fight, and I could see it really snowballing quite hard from that fight. So whoever wins this first fight might take the ascendancy in the game. However, Condemned is overextended ever so slightly in the bot lane, does have flash available, which is why Vale isn't popping the ultimate. He does flash away from the Dark Binding, and Vale keeps his ultimate for later. So Condemned, a little bit overextended, didn't have his ult, wasn't level 6 yet, had to back away. Yeah,
Vidius has gone for the Hexcore upgrade, because at level 9, you can actually clear waves very easily with your Death Ray and the upgrade from it from the Hexcore. It will just absolutely shred through the backline of those waves, and actually if you do get a couple of auto, you're seeing it right there, if you get a couple of auto attacks, onto those melee minions, it will also do the same thing. It'll be really good just to keep ezreal pushed in as well. I don't think ezreal's going to mind that so much though. It'll just give him free roam to just farm up. But Condemned trying to like subatomic here, but you're seeing the exact problem with Olaf right now.
Yeah, just not able to get onto anyone. Damnation is actually going to get dived here. He'll go down to Nocturnal Plex, who chucks his axe and gets the kill. Here comes Veil, though. A gorgeous dump, but Ragnarok gets popped straight away. Condemned's going to go down to Subatomic, and ezreal comes across them all as well. Veil has to back away. Nocturnal Plex timed that Ragnarok superbly. Artorias is actually going to go there with the Ignite on top of it. Onslaught of Shadows, the Ignite will tick, boom, and Artorias turns it round.
Wow.
Home Guard Ninja Tabi, enough for him to take a kill in the top lane.
Yeah, and he didn't even make use of the home guard because he didn't teleport in. That was a great turnaround by Artorias, and he's managed to pick up that 1v1 kill. Vidius, you see how much damage he's taking from these Mystic shots right now. That's really, really devastating for him, because if he takes too many of those... Oh, wow, they're going to go for the Dragon. This is, I think this is risky. I think this is really risky from exceL. I don't think they should commit this hard to the Dragon. I know Veil is low, but I just think it's very risky.
Yeah, they have decided to back away from it, so not going to get that Dragon. 300 gold behind. A very close game in this best of 3 finals. Of course, both these teams already qualified for the group stages, which will be played next Monday and Tuesday, and the Monday and Tuesday after that. The winners of those groups, so I think it's first and second place, will get a position in the MCM tournament in London at the middle of May. Exciting stuff, exCeL, and at the moment, the ESL UK Premiership is looking like one to watch.
Yeah, look at the damage coming down onto Artorias in that top lane. He may have got a return kill onto exceL, but it doesn't matter when you're still seriously behind in gold. And exceL picking up the penetration boots too, meaning he's absolute monster. I think Artorias just has to be careful here, because all it's going to take is another shuriken. He'll very easily go down. He's actually backing right in the face of exceL.
Oh, exceL, no!
Wow.
What? He stuns him, and then it's just like, I'm gonna get you, no, He wasn't lightning fast with his reflexes there, unable to pick up the kill.
Yeah, and Nocturnal Plex, remember, can just ultimate through Kennen's stuns, but... oh wow, the teleport home guard!
The teleport home guards, they're gonna dive into the London Tower, no flash available. Rolaf picks himself up another kill, Sigma Delta cubes for the win, and Nocturnal Plex, part of that frat, part of exceL eSports, help him pick up their third kill of the game.
This is going to be a potential dragon pool for Veil and Ascendance, though, as they try to push this top lane tower down. I'm trying to think. I guess
it's a dangerous thing to do, exCeL.
I know. I'm guessing now exceL's going to be really unhappy that he didn't take that kill. Because he unfortunately got caught out by the teleport home guys. I don't know how much the exceL boys can do to defend this dragon after having taken that top lane tower, but I don't think they'll be too stressed about the first dragon going down. It is just that 6% AD and AP, and at this stage in the game won't mean too much, but wow, look at the damage that Vidius is doing already. Picked up his own needlessly large rod, probably going for his Zhonya's himself. That would be a smart pickup against the double AD composition.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and he's got a lot of AP already, sitting on 231, only 30 minutes into the game. He is huge. Death Ray does about half of the health. Always wants to go. Condemned is an unstoppable monster, but he gets stopped by the Dark Binding, has to back away. But the thing about Condemned on this Gragas is, you know, he's going to be aggressive, and so we see how well Damnation and Subatomic are playing around that by being safe. They've been very safe on the Corki and Morgana. Yes, they've given up 1 kill, but Artorias snuck his way into the bush here. They probably don't expect him to be here. He goes in with the Onslaught of Shadows onto Damnation. He makes himself spell immune with the Black Shield and will survive. And a gorgeous little micro play there by Damnation. Keeps himself alive. The teleport coming in. Kennen has got ultimate, but there's a barrel on him. He's going to get slowed up. Explosive cast. Very, very well played there by Condemned to keep his AD carry and his top laner safe.
Yeah, really, really solid play by the Condemned Gragas again. He's been really, really great on that Gragas support. What a great word, great. I just, you know, I could have picked any descriptive word in the dictionary.
Any word at all.
And I picked great. That's just great. No,
I rate it 8 out of 8.
Yeah. Oh wow. How did I not see that one coming? And been pretty fantastic, I think, overall. And actually, Nocturnal Plex is trying to come in and do some tower defense work here. You've got to remember that Nocturnal Plex will be able to run straight through that cannon ultimate with the Ragnarok, but depending on how tanky he gets, he could just get blown up as he tries to do so. He's gone for the boost and ability, so I'm trying to, interesting build from Nocturnal Plex. I think he may be just looking to consistently farm across the map. Has to be careful. Wow, Harpastor does take a death ray to the face. Still may be looking to try and contest this blue. Yeah, I think he is.
Did try and contest it, but I think that one went across. Oh no, who's got that one? Nocturnal Plex picked it up. Had to smite that one away, you would assume. And does manage to pick it up, but meaning it's not on Vidius, which is a big thing. Of course, Victor, not the most mana-intensive mid laner, but it's always nice to have that cooldown in mana regeneration, especially since he hasn't gone for mana items early. He's got a little bit of extra mana from his Hex Core, but not enough to be able to spam out as many spells as he'd like.
Yeah, and Nocturnal Plex is going to try and take down the River Scuttler in the Baron side. Not like they'll be going for Baron anytime soon, but it's always nice to have that in the arsenal. Provides a little bit extra vision and control over the river area. So we've got the first dragon of the game having gone to the Ascendance lineup, but the gold advantage sitting with exceL. Seems like a similar scenario that we often see, and Artorias is not too far behind at this point in time. He started off at a severe disadvantage, is now managing to
What was that?
a severe
disadvantage voice.
Sorry. Cool articulation, Sona. Yeah, just
oh, okay, yeah. I don't
enunciate different syllables of the word, and,
okay.
provide effect.
Are you sure you don't mean syllable? Anyway, mid lane tower being pushed here by exceL. Might be able to get this one down. They've got 3 caster minions there, but Veil with the Black Shield will make them back away. Nocturnal Plex and Artorias here, looking for the Zizzle, looking for a bit of Spizzle on their shizzle, but they won't be able to go into it. He walks across the wall, and they will spot them out doing the grump. The rest of exceL have rotated around towards this top lane, but the tower already down means they can't really do a huge amount. They were pushed off mid-tower. Of course, Artorias on Shadows across the wall is going to connect with the devastating charge afterwards, but not with the fear. So Zizzle will just back away towards his Tizzle.
Yeah, he'll just back away towards the Tizzle, obviously.
Oh, Dark Binding landing on Vidius. They might want to go in onto this one because Harpastor has the Black Shield on him. It's going to go in, but the heal coming out from Exabyte saves Vidius' life. Harpastor, no true shot barrage for him at the moment, so he won't be able to snipe away that one. And it does mean Vidius survives, but there's going to be some pressure on this mid lane tower from double AD carry.
Yeah, if anyone didn't know, Sona actually part-times as a stereotypical 1990s rapper.
Ooh, here comes Condemned. The explosive cost not going to be enough, but Exabyte's going to go into Harpastor. Here comes Nocturnal Plex. Artorias is so flipping fast! Comes in from the side, and it looks like they're going to get some damage onto Veil. Artorias wasn't able to instate the Dark Binding, not quite connecting. Condemned is still on Damnation. Nocturnal Plex flashes in there. The collateral damage. Oh my goodness gracious me! Veil manages to get a beautiful Glacial Prism. He's going to try and get onto Exabyte as well. They picked up 2. Can they pick up 3? The exhaust comes onto Exabyte, but here comes Vidius finally joining the fray. Will have to back away, and a gorgeous, gorgeous Glacial Prism from Ascendance. Veil helps them pick up 2.
Yep, Sejuani ultimate there was the complete turnaround. I guess exceL just imagined that it must have already been used, and therefore committed pretty hard, but they got locked up right under tower. They got an AoE into them, and unfortunately there's nothing they could do. Mid lane tower goes down, and Ascendance with a quick turnaround, and now on the Ascendance in this game, and they are definitely looking like they want to, or rather they mean business in this final. exceL have got some catching up to do.
At the moment, 1,200 gold, 1,400 gold behind, actually 300 now, but 1 tower down as well. It's 2-1 in the tower stakes, and that mid lane tower going down gives Ascendance a great deal of map vision, map awareness, map presence, because they can push further into the jungle of exceL. We see the mana boon getting stacked up on Harpastor as well. He's got his Sheen, he's got his Ionian cooldown boots of Lucidity. And he's going to be putting some pressure down on this mid lane now. Also, upgraded his warding totem into a greater stealth totem. So, an interesting upgrade there, something we're seeing more often now with the rise of the upgraded warding trinkets.
Yeah, definitely so. And, well, right now we're just waiting for the second dragon to be fought over. Artorias with those home guards will be making this very, very speedy way down. It looks like True Shot Barrage is going to spot him out. That's always the benefit of having True Shot Barrage. It sees all things. And exceL are in 2 mines right now. Ragnarok has been popped.
Ragnarok's being popped. Artorias coming in as well. He's got the onslaught of shadows. Going to go into Damnation. Teleport coming in from behind though. They need to be careful. A gorgeous Glacial Prism. Here comes Cannon. He's locked out by the gravity field though. There he goes. Straight flash into the middle of the whole fight. He's got Zonius as well. Condemned is going to go down. Artorias, the next target. Actually, this is switch onto Vedius. Thor in the back line as well. Is he going to be able to get the Mystic shots up? There's one. Can he land the second? That's the question. Not quite able to. Just a sliver of a hitbox off towards the side. exceL trying to chase onto Artorias as well, who will just run away. Vedius almost getting caught out by that Thunder and Shuriken, but they will turn and burn towards the Dragon. I think exceL can fight this. They've still got quite a lot of health on exabyte. He might be able to get into the middle of the fight. exceL very low. Half-Past Thor. Oh! Half-Past Thor, you beauty! Post-fire, Ezreal showing his true worth there. Artorias is going to get onto exceL. Will be able to take him down in a 1v1, but he needs to be careful because there's 2 AD carries going to pound away onto him now. And he'll go down in just a second. Subatomic helping Half-Past Thor pick up that kill. Nocturnal Flex there. True shot barrage onto him. They're going to get the second Dragon of the game. Half-Past Thor can chase. He's still full health. Is he going to be able to get on to Nocturnal Flex? Think he'll get away. Just right at the edge of it. Not quite enough, and exceL Condemned is back in the fight. Mid lane tower goes down, but the second Dragon of the game is just going to go across to Ascendance.
Yeah, and as we bring the pace down to a manageable level, we'll talk about that lightning turnaround from the Ascendance guys. You see what I did there? The lightning turnaround from the Ascendance guys as exceL did teleport in. And with a beautiful ultimate in Zhonya's meant that he managed to turn the team fight around. And like you said, nice slight from Half-Past Thor. I think Vedius just overextending a little bit there. I think they were too keen to try and contest that Dragon. Interestingly enough, the second Dragon is often not so hotly contested, just because of the value it offers. Often is only very good for specific team compositions. We've talked about this before. In the sense that you tend to pick it in things like Jinx or you know, heavy siege and tower push combos. I've just realised, as I've been saying, that they are running a double AD composition, and therefore what I've just said is absolutely complete rubbish. And actually, the second Dragon buff is actually very useful for the Ascendance lineup. So you shouldn't listen to me because I haven't got a clue what I'm talking about.
I tend to just play Tap Titans on my phone when you're talking anyway, so.
Oh, the product placement there, so now.
On my SanDisk phone that has a SanDisk hyperdrive in it for ESL UK, boys. Oh. exceL a little bit behind at the moment, 1,000 gold down. They lost the Dragon fight, and exceL showed a great cannon flank in that last fight. What can exceL do now to get back into this?
Oh god. I don't know. They're not out of it for sure. They're only about 400 gold behind, so an overall gold value that they've definitely up there in terms of items. I think Vedius needs to get a little bit more gold funneled onto him, but right now the farm is really solid in his favour. He's actually 30 farm up on the Ezreal just because of how powerful that death ray is. One shot minion waves. So you know, you can basically throw that death ray down and suddenly you've got 6 creeps in the bag and you're going to be laughing. But it looks like again there's going to be this race for the inner turrets. We have seen exceL pull this off before and lose. They are going to have Half-Past Thor defending those, so Vedius is going to move in here, taking a very risky route. He's going to use the death ray to clear the minion wave. Are they going to go for an engage? Vale is in position, but is going to just jump away here. And Plex, I still, although Plex is 2-on-2, I still feel like he hasn't been in. Oh my god, Half-Past Thor.
Half-Past Thor's getting taken so low here by Artorias. Does still have flash available though. He flashes away there. Should be able to get himself away towards safety. Damnation though gets slowed up by the barrel toss. There comes Vedius with the kill and Chaos Storm. Half-Past Thor is still getting chased down. Oh, Artorias is so close. He'll get taken out though. I don't understand the positioning. Like, he was between Subatomic Vale on one side with a tower, and then Half-Past Thor on the other side. Vale get caught up in the gravity field, which is nice and all, but he's down to about half HP. They haven't got their AD carry, they haven't got their top lane, and they're going to have to back away, and exceL just not quite getting the fights in the way they'd like to.
I almost thought you were going to pull out a pulse where you just sort of do the
and they've used all of the abilities
and it goes and it hits and it doesn't matter. Oh, God. Sorry.
Oh, that would have been
Apologies
amazing.
to Pulse. Pulse is the best caster I've ever seen in my life.
Pulse is our bay. Anyway, 9 kills to 6 at the moment in favour of Ascendance. They are in the Ascendance, as you would say, exceL, which is an awful pun. It should never be used again. I feel like the puns are getting lazy.
The puns are getting lazy. It's like when
exceL not in an excellent position. Can they be extremely good in this game? I'm not sure at the moment. It's only 1,000 gold the difference. 2 dragons to 0 though, which is important as you said with that double AD. Got condemned. Explosive cast. Half past 4 in the middle of a gravity field isn't going to connect him because he jumps away with his arcane shift. And half past 4 once more showing us the power of the Ezreal, showing us the power of the womanly man in that middle lane. Goes back away. Artorias fighting up against xceL. Or shiZle, he is winning out on that fight at the moment. Got his Spirit Visage now as well, so he's got a bit of extra sustain. Oh, a good flash away there by exabyte from the Glacial Prison, but Veil will take that trade. Artorias trying to get away from xceL will be kept there for just a minute, and Condemned gonna try and flank from behind. The Death Ray does so much damage. Condemned with no explosive cask is gonna get locked out here by Veil, but there's no ultimate. Of course, Nocturnal Plex coming in from the side as well. A good binding gonna land onto Avidius in the backline. Subatomic taking down to about half HP as well. Meanwhile, bot lane, they're still fighting. Condemned coming in here. He hasn't got explosive cast. What can he do? Not much at all. Nocturnal Plex parts the Ragnarok. Subatomic with the Valkyrie away from the body slam thing from Gragas, who will get locked out by the Soul Shackles from Damnation. Veil's going to go in. Exabyte taking very low, but a beautiful Chaos Storm from Avidius will take him down. They're going to chase onto this one. Damnation's going to go down. Hopper's Thor's going to go down. exceL with an excellent team fight. Going to take out a couple. Artorias, meanwhile, in the bot lane. The Zhonya's from xceL doesn't have his slicing Maelstrom up. He's going to jump away with the Lightning Surge, though. Artorias gets stunned up. Can he turn this one? Oh, he's so low.
Oh,
he hasn't. He's got nothing. Oh, but he's got the sustain. The Spirit of Dread will sustain him up, and exceL take a team fight, take my breath away, and wow.
I feel like we need to put Sona in a warm room right now. He's a bit sweaty. He's had enough. He's found his one true love, and that is the exceL eSports team. With the turnaround there, Envidious on that Victor, previously 0-1-0, now 3-1-1, and that's the kind of turn on. Oh, I went down that path a little bit too far. Yes, that's the kind of switch that they need to switch. That flick. Do you know what, Sona? I hate you. I don't even understand what I'm saying anymore. But I also love you, so it's
that's fine. The kind of switch they need to flick on if they're going to win out this game against Ascendance. The gold is once again equal, 3 towers to 3. The Dragon looks like it's going to be picked up here by exceL. Veil might jump in for the steal. He won't get it though, because it's taken away by a Nocturnal Plex, in fact. Here comes Artorias, the Hecarim home guard. He's so fast! It gets onto Veil, but does nothing whatsoever. And will just back away. Condemned caught out with the Dark Binding. Nocturnal Plex there still gonna steal away the red buff for exabyte, who's had a good game, even though he's 1-1-4. Condemned onto xceL, but xceL will just back away. exceL trying to get as much out of this jungle as they can, but not getting huge advantage here. They have got their first dragon of the game, which is a big swing for them.
Yeah, and exceL tend to do this. I mean, we've not seen them play from behind, but with this
true shot barrage.
Oh wow!
exceL are not in a good position. Oh, damnation! 3/4 of his health from one death ray. That is a lot.
That's Victor for you.
But will he be the Victor? That's the question.
What are these puns? We're just getting so lazy. We need to up the game.
Okay.
Top quality casting. And you're listening to the singing voices of Sona and Scoundrel, hired by ESL. Top quality caster here. Yep. We are available for work. Sona does.
We have many dank memes that we can bring out.
We do, and Sona is partial to Small Children's birthday party. He does a fantastic act where he pretends to be a 1990s rapper.
Speaking of acts, the mid lane tower is going down. Is this the second act of the game? Here comes the slice of Master. exabyte gets destroyed off to the side. Nocturnal Plex has to put Ragnarok to try and get away. There's the Dark Binding. Avidius gets caught out. Ascendancy have won this team fight. I can call it now. Avidius does go onto a rampage, but look at the damage coming down onto him. Subatomic is able to chase him away, and True Shot Barrage is going to connect onto Nocturnal Plex, but not quite enough damage. They will just back away, but 4 members of Ascendance still left up, but only 2 on the side of exceL. Is this going to be an inhibitor tower mid?
And that's the first time I've seen them use the combo, the Morgana shield onto xceL, and then allow xceL free reign with his ultimate. And unfortunately, exabyte was just out of position at this point, and they're going to lose their inhibitor tower. And actually, Avidius forced to pop the cleanse. He was too afraid of being collapsed on. And they may not get the inhibitor here, but they have got it open now, so it'll be a lot easier for them to push should they win another teamfight. And Plex takes a ton of poke and CC right there, locked up at the final hurrah, and he is just going to move solemnly through his jungle, knowing that he failed his team. You failed your team, Plex.
There's so little Plex can do, though. Like, how are you meant to engage on an ezreal Corki Morgana, even with Righteous Glory? I don't see how it's going to work.
Yeah, look at these again. He's stretching his CS lead out to 266. So he's not quite 10 CS a minute, but almost up there. And it has got a serious CS lead over Half Past Thor. I don't think Half Past Thor is going to matter too much, going to care too much when he's 5-1 and 2. Picked up 3 of his core items that make that build in the mid Ezreal really, really powerful. Got that Muramana, he's got that Triforce, and you know he's got free reign of what he wants to try and move towards next at 2k gold. I imagine, considering the double Frozen Heart, likely to be a Last Whisper, but you know, he could surprise us. Could go for that Bloodthirster.
Interestingly, Vidius has gone for the upgrade on Siphon Power, which is his Q as his second upgrade after getting the Hexcore Mark II.
I like it.
See a lot. Yeah, I like it as well because it gives you the movement speed to kite back against an Ezreal Corki and the Veil Sejuani as well. But we also see a lot of victors going for the Gravity Field, because it gets you that ability just to group everyone up for the rest of your team, which would be nice with Artorias. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him upgrading to a Mark III Hexcore, just so that he can have that gravity field distortion as well.
I'm trying to think though, I mean, at what point do you think you're going to see the Ascendance line up in a position where that gravity field is going to be super effective? I feel like using it as a stun at the moment is good enough, because the amount of mobility that all of the members on Ascendance have, I mean, getting a good gravity well where he'll lock people in the middle is going to be fairly difficult. But Vidius, look how much poke he's taken already. He is definitely not loving this right now. The Half Past Thor doing some serious damage alongside those Corki missiles, and the 2 AD carries, the core component of the Ascendance team, have got the majority of their kills, and it's basically perfect funneling for the Ascendant lineup.
Their funneling is perfect. If they were at one of Brolaf's parties, they could do a beer bong like no other team, because they are very good with the funnel. At the moment, they're trying to push down for the mid lane inhibitor, but not quite able to get it down just quite yet. Zizzle had backed away. He's gone for the Abyssal Scepter along with that Haunting Guise as well, so going full pen, which helps out quite a bit. Of course, the extra magic resist reduction will help out a little bit with Morgana and Sejuani, who do a bit of magic damage. And Ezreal, of course, Mystic Shot can do. He can get a little bit of magic damage off as well, but not huge. exceL just backing away into their base, trying to protect. There's 2 Frozen Hearts already on exceL as well, which is quite strong for them.
Yeah, Ascendants don't even need to engage because the amount of poke that they've got from their composition. They've got a Mystic Shot from Ezreal, they've got the Corki missiles, and they've got Binding from Morgana, which if it does hit, especially with the Zhonya's, is not going to be, you know, tickling. It's going to be more like a little slap. So the team, they have to worry about those kind of things. That, you know, the Ascendants can just wait until they feel like they've done enough damage to a key target and then use Veil to engage, and that's kind of what they've been doing in the majority of these team fights. But while Vidius is quite healthy, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Yeah, Vidius actually has to get pretty close to use the majority of his spells, and that's kind of what they want him to do. They want him to step out of position. They want him to move up to the plate and try and use that Death Ray and use that that Q ability of his, and look like, oh, explosive cast negated by the Arcane Shift. First explosive cast from Condemned that hasn't had a giant impact, but Veil, the damage he took from a singular Death Ray, especially as the tank, not sitting on any magic resist though, so you would expect nothing less.
Poke come from Ascendance, not quite working out, not quite getting in their intended goal, but they're rotating around towards this dragon. They're going to catch out Condemned as he comes around. Veil jumps on him, but a good flash away will get him to cross towards safety. And it looks like they should be able to get this dragon for themselves. The third dragon of the game is big in this game. Oh, a counter Baron from exceL. Nice pings. They are spotted out by a ward, and that would have been a great little bit of play. They pull Ascendance away from the dragon for now, and they can regroup as they try and work out how they're going to play against this Ascendance poke lineup.
Yeah, and Half Past Thor, I thought he was going to go very aggressive there, but Nocturnal Plex also taking a lot of damage from this Corki. They can't sit there and take the poke, but they haven't got a reliable way of engaging either. there's no reliable way apart from Hecarim for them to engage, and even that can be quite easily negated by a Morgana shield.
Here comes the reliable way though. Hecarim getting onto the backline. Hubbuster has to flash away as well. Subtomic uses the Valkyrie to get himself away. Has also got that Blade of the Rune King to steal a bit of movement speed away. Nocturnal Plex flashes in, trying to get onto Damnation. They will not quite take out the Morgana, who already has a Zhonya's. They do pick up Artorias with a good snipe from the True Shot Barrage, but Vidius is unstoppable. Nice explosive cast knocks away Veil, and they're going to rotate across towards the Dragon.
Yeah, Vidius now is probably going to be the core carry for the exceL lineup. He will be doing the majority of the damage, and against two squishy targets, if Chaos Storm is correctly placed, it's going to be really, really good for the exceL lineup. Obviously, though, there's so many...
Oh, Zizzle jumps onto Vidius straight away. A beautiful flash slicing mouse from Hubbuster from across the wall. A steal by Veil with the smite. Nocturnal Place is going to go down as well. Condemned exaByte gets caught out in the Glacial Prison. He's a dead man, and he has gone to an early grave. Condemned going to have one last drink before he goes. We call that the Whiskey of Doom. He'll go down, and it's a great team fight for Ascendance, and they steal away the Dragon.
Yeah, Whiskey of Doom, a commonly known whiskey. If you don't know about Whiskey of Doom, then I'm sure Sona will fill you on the details of its heritage. It's quite a lucrative one at that. But yeah, I mean, right now, exceL on the back foot and just slowly losing their grip in this game. I think Artorias may look to try and do something here. Wow, okay, that was a bit of an interesting ultimate.
The problem for Artorias is Hubbuster has Arcane Shift, Subtomic has Valkyrie. What are you meant to do?
Yeah.
Like, he can't get onto them in any way, they just escape every time.
Exactly, and that's why I think they're not the Olaf pick, although good to counter the Kennen ultimate, has no other real value, because he's never going to be able to get to the back line, unless he's just simply there for peel, but the only peel that Olaf offers the team is hitting those axes, so it's not the most ideal. Okay, I think exceL are maybe looking to rush a Baron here, because the rest of the Ascendance lineup are backing.
It's a possibility that he's going to struggle though.
Yeah, Damnation is the target. I don't actually think exceL have decided against that one.
The problem is for exceL that they needed that full-in jungler, like you're saying. Olaf doesn't have the peel, doesn't have the ability to chase either. Someone like a Vi would have done a lot better. Someone like a Maokai, even in the top lane, would have done a bit better, because you can get onto people and stick onto them a lot better than you can with a Hecarim or with an Olaf. And we've seen it time and time again. Like, Ragnarok popped there by Nocturnal Plex just to get away from this teamfight. Even though the goal difference is small, with that mid lane inhibitor down, exceL are going to struggle to hold out in this game.
The problem is, because we're getting to the later stages of the game, the double AD carry composition is just going to be more and more powerful. You can't compete against it unless Vidius can get damage onto the key targets, you know, like as he can get a Death Ray across both AD carries followed by Chaos Storm to try and execute someone. There is just nothing that the exceL boys can do. They're just going to always lose out to a double AD carry composition, because in the late game AD carries are often considered the biggest threats just because of the pure damage that they can output over sustained and longer teamfights. And there isn't really anyone on the side of exceL that poses themselves as a serious threat to the AD carries, especially with such high mobility like Corki and Ezreal.
It's a slow grind here for Ascendance eSports. They're on top of their game at the moment. All they need to do is take down another inhibitor or get another teamfight, and they will definitely win out on this one. Zizzle against Artorias in the top lane needs to be careful, because the rest of exceL are trying to rotate round. But Zizzle actually losing out in the fight just in a 1v1. The Spirit Visage Warmogs build coming out from Artorias. He doesn't have the damage he usually would. Usually we see that Phage or a Triforce or something like that just to give him that bit of extra burst as he goes in. But at the moment his damage just comes through Hecarim's innate damage, which is strong, but nowhere near as strong as Artorias is used to being.
Yeah, he hasn't picked up the Triforce like we said, so there is no real damage threat coming out from Artorias this time round, and you're seeing Artorias struggle, which is kind of in itself showing exceL's weaknesses, that if Artorias is not at that position where he can carry, the rest of the team, you know, start to struggle in the team fights. Artorias can't split push effectively because, you know, he's got a Warmogs, he's got Frozen Heart, he's got Spirit Visage, all great, yeah, but you know, as long as Kennen stays safe, what threat is Artorias really going to pose to him? Well, not a lot at all. So Kennen's probably just going to look to split push against him, or even just ignore him at half the time. And there's nothing that exceL can put pressure on apart from in a 5v5. But in a 5v5 they lose. So it's kind of status quo, catch-22. Sorry, it's kind of catch-22 for the exceL boys.
Most definitely. Look at the damage onto exaByte. The True Shot Barrage coming in as well almost takes him down. We do see Artorias picking up his Thorn Mail, so he's gone full armor apart from that Spirit Visage, and the Warmog's giving him a bit of health just to make him even tankier. But I think one thing we haven't talked about a huge amount is the fact that both of these teams have already qualified. They're playing for seeding at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Luden's Echo actually picked up on exceL's going to help him do a lot of damage onto Artorias. But yeah, they're playing for seeding. It's quite possible that exceL have said, well, we've tried Olaf jungle a few times in, ranked files or something. Let's see how it is against, high caliber competition. And it's just not quite working out the way they thought it would.
Do you know what's really great about Morgana and his composition? Bindings just provide so much zoning around tower areas because you just don't want to get caught. But the entire team gives such wide berth to those bindings that it gives the double AD composition time to get the damage down onto the tower, which is kind of massively in favour of the Ascendance lineup here.
Ascendance definitely showing us why they're...
I just randomly cut off there. I'm really sorry. I think my microphone just died.
That's alright, man. That's alright. It's okay at this point.
You're so
Next dragon in a minute. I try to understand you, exceL, but it's a long and hard process. But one day, as soulmates, we will understand each other. And it looks like Ascendance are trying to do a flank here. exabyte not in the best of positions, has to flash away. Artorias gonna get slowed up. Look at the damage with the Luden's Echo. Artorias will get away, but exabyte's gone down already. Damnation gets taken out. Condemned's gonna get onto Half-Past Door in the backline. The heal is gonna be enough to keep him alive, I think. From that Ignite, not quite enough. Nocturnal Plex trying to get as far in as he can, but Brolaf is not able to do anything. The power of Bromacia falling by the wayside in this game. He hasn't really had a huge influence on the game. Oh, Subatomic goes in, dodges out with a Valkyrie. VD is so low. Nocturnal Plex is the target. They're going to turn and burn onto him. He flashes away across the wall, but Veil still on full HP. This is the difference between the junglers. Veil full HP. Got his flash still available, manages to pick up the kill. They're going to try and chase Artorias out as well. exceL will be on this one. He's got the movement speed from Luden's Echo as well, along with the distortion on his boots. So Artorias not going to get away from this one. exceL gets the kill with the Luden's Echo proc Thunder in Surukan. And the fourth dragon of the game looks like it's going to go down to Ascendance.
Yeah, fourth dragon of the game, and probably the entire game by this point. You just can't see a way that the composition of exceL is going to be able to win team fights against such a powerful team from Ascendance. And exabyte, you're seeing him every single team fight, and then is getting to the back line very freely with that Morgana shield, and exabyte is getting wiped off the map. Yep. Absolutely wiped off the map. And without exabyte, what else have they got left as a damage threat? Because it's full tank Hecarim, full tank Olaf, and then Ovidius. So you've got Ovidius and exabyte. It's kind of suffering the same way that the TCA guys suffered against exceL in the first semi-final. You've only got two real threats. You neutralise one threat, you've got one threat, and then the rest of your, essentially the blue team has got the Baron with the Ezreal there, so almost stolen by exabyte. But yeah, I don't see many ways for exceL to make their way back into this first game in the final.
It looks like Ascendance will take first game. We're just waiting on them to do it, really, at the moment. I mean, the longer they delay it, the more you have to think that exceL have a chance, because if they can get to 6 items, Victor is a very scary monster. Nocturnal Plex will become unkillable at some point. He's just not quite there yet. And Artorias almost 6 items. If he lands a good unstoppable onslaught, gets a couple of people locked out, that's quite a big thing. And then, of course, if the Banshees is finished on exabyte, makes it even harder to lock him down. But at the moment, 22 kills to 12 up, Ascendance definitely look in the dominant position.
Yeah, I mean, this inhibitor, it will be open for the taking very easily. Ovidius has got so much farm right now, but that he is the sole saving grace for exceL, and if he can get a really good Chaos Storm, but that is the key defining factor here. If he can get a really good Chaos Storm, there is a chance that they can win team fights. He doesn't have the Avoid Staff though, so he won't be penetrating any of the magic resist being built up. And there is starting to get some magic resist on the Kennons. The Kennon has picked up magic resist. There is Lock at the Iron Solari, Spectre's Cowl on Corki 2, 709 on Subatomic, by the way. That's a really good score.
Yeah, he's had a really good game on this Corki. He's been protected well by his team, but also about being able to pick off those kills when and where you can. He's done that superbly well. Joint highest kills on his team. Mid lane inhibitor is going to go down once again for Ascendance. It looks like they're going to rotate towards top lane, which has a good minion wave ready and raring to go for them. So exceL backing away, doesn't have teleport available, but is very quick on that cannon. He's going to go towards bot to stop Artorias pushing out, and looks like Ascendance just going to try and push down this top lane tower.
Yep, they have got all the tools necessary for sieging. Like I said, double AD comp is probably one of the best in the business for sieging towers. And there's the Baron minions too. Massive Baron wave, double siege Baron minion coming into play too. So, like I said, I'm trying to think of a way that exceL can win these team fights. Just there is got to be a way can win it, and there's got to be a formula that they can adopt. And the only formula I can see is exabyte doesn't get one shot, Vidius gets a Chaos Storm that crosses both AD carries. But that's it. And that's a very big ask. Very unlikely to happen, because Plex doesn't do anything at this point. Neither does Artorias, to be honest. His ultimate is so easy to avoid and he does no damage. And Condemned's ultimate, again, is being used defensively, which when we've seen him previously, been basically very aggressive with that ultimate, and when Condemned is playing from behind and playing defensively, you're seeing a complete different way in the way he decides to play. And look how quickly he's going to go down with a double AD comp. And again, you're seeing defensive ultimate from Condemned. I think this is do or die right now for exceL, and Vidius has put himself into a position. Zhonya's comes down.
Yeah, he's dead straight away. There's all there with the Zhonya's of his own. He's going to survive for just a couple of seconds. He will go down to exabyte though. It's a shutdown. Artorias trying to get onto half-past door. He gets him low, but not quite enough. exabyte, can he kite away from this one? Looks like Condemned's going to come in from the side just to try and get some extra damage off, but the binding catching on exabyte. Second inhibitor will go down here for Ascendance. They're going to rotate down towards the bottom lane now and go for their third inhibitor of the game. Got to paint by numbers here and win out the game as best you can. Nocturnal Plex trying to get in again, but not going to be able to do much here, even with those home guards. He'll get chased away. And Ascendance going to back away, and then you have to expect them to go for the next dragon, get their fifth of the game, and then go towards bot.
Yeah, with such a highly mobile composition, especially as there's no ghost on Nocturnal Plex, I just feel like he does nothing in these team fights. He's just like a spare part. Sits on the edge, throws some axes, doesn't really have a big impact. Right now, Ascendance could win this game, I think, at any point. Too worried about giving any form of length of rope to the exceL squad. They should just push bot, in my opinion. Push bot, and they'll very easily be able to win the game. In fact, I think they could push mid and they'll be very easily able to win the game, but they're trying to play it safe. Dragon's up in a minute. They're probably looking to get that 5th dragon buff. Not that I think they need it, but it is on the table. And
at the moment, Ascendance could probably push their own Nexus and still manage to win the game. That's how far ahead they are, but it looks like they're going to push down this bottom lane. Dragon spawning in about 40 seconds. They are 11 kills up. 10,000 gold as well, and Artorias gets caught out. He actually doesn't take that much damage. Explosive cast, damnation! Zhonya's right on a sliver of health, doesn't manage to get the soul shackles off. Condemned is very, very low though. Artorias jumps onto the backline. Bale is there as well. Nocturnal Plex alive. Vidius and exabyte are still alive, but Vidius is nowhere near this. Artorias might go down. Nocturnal Plex the target. exabyte's going to get some counter damage off. Here comes Vidius. Chaos Storm not quite enough, but here comes Cannon from the side. Lunar Echo. exabyte gets destroyed where he stands, as does Vidius, and as soon as Cannon joins the fray, that is a victory for Ascendance. They're going to be able to push down mid lane. The pingers are going. GG, well played. Surrender vote comes out. 5 votes for 0. And Ascendance finally take game 1.
Yep, game 1 of this final going over to Ascendance. It was pretty close the entire way through, but the superior composition, I think, won out in the end. I think we can both say we favoured the Ascendance composition from Champ Select, AD comps, with no real way to shut that double AD down. And they take home the first game of this best of 3 series. We are going to be back in just a few seconds, guys. We'll be back quicker than the loading from a SanDisk hard drive. And don't you worry, we'll be around for the next game of this best of 3 series.